Here's the question. Are Democrats and Republicans really set to spar over this new package in the next few days? I want to bring in Republican Congressman Jim Banks of Indiana. And Congressman, what do you make of that we're in for a big, protracted partisan fight over another stimulus package?
Well, that's a good way to put it, Cheryl. At this point, I can tell you that House Democrats and Speaker Pelosi are not consulting with Republicans at all over this upcoming bill. We don't even know when we're going to vote on it. We're told that Friday at the earliest, we might be called to Washington, D.C. to vote on this next round, potentially a $2 trillion stimulus bill. I can also tell you, as a Hoosier whose state has worked so hard under good leadership of former governors to build up a rainy day fund, a budget surplus, Indiana taxpayers shouldn't foot the bill for bad leadership in states like Illinois.
Okay.
And that's why I will oppose any effort to bail out mismanaged state budgets in poorly led states like Illinois when it's going to cost Hoosier taxpayers to do so.
I was actually going to ask you that, because that seems to be what Nancy Pelosi is really leading the charge on is frankly bailouts to state and local governments, although you've got these Democratic governors coming out on television repeatedly saying we're going to have to lay off hospital workers and police and fire and all that. So let's move on, though, because I want to ask you about some other ideas that are floated around here. Direct payments to Americans, $2,000, a direct payment into their pocket. That's been talked about. She's talked about expanding on PPP. My concern about PPP, if we do this again, is that we had a lot of fraud and abuse in the first and the second go-rounds of that program. Would you support giving more money to small businesses, or would you want some kind of assurances that the program was going to be operating justly this time?
Well, there's no doubt that PPP has been a lifeline to small businesses. I hear it from business owners all over my district every single day that it was the lifeline they needed to stay afloat during a tough time. But we can't keep piling on trillions of dollars in addition to the national debt that we've already built in this very short period of time without offsetting those costs with cuts elsewhere. And that's why you're hearing a growing chorus from House conservatives that if we're going to spend more, and there might be areas where we need to spend more, then let's cut in other places to make up for it. At this point, we're approaching a $30 trillion national debt. We can't do that to future generations. Yeah. At the same time, there's no doubt that there might be some programs we need to add to along the way, and I'm fully open to that, even supporting state and local governments who are crippled because of the coronavirus. We might need to do that, but we better root out waste, fraud, and abuse, and hold local and state governments accountable for how they use those funds down the road.
It's unfortunate that that's happened. Hey, listen, I want to ask you about this. There are reports that the White House is going to formally accuse China of trying to steal American coronavirus vaccine and treatment research through cyber attacks. You're on the China task force in the House. Your reaction to this?
Well, what I find hilariously hypocritical about this Wall Street Journal report that the Chinese are trying to steal our efforts to create a vaccination is that China's been telling us now for weeks that they've had the coronavirus under control in their own country. If that's true, they wouldn't be trying to steal intellectual property and the efforts of our government to develop a vaccine. But none of us are surprised by these reports. This is how China has operated right before our eyes for so long. We know their sinister motives, their malign influences in the United States to take advantage of a moment like this to rework the global economy in their best interest. We can't allow them to do that, and this is why China must be held accountable for their negligence that has led to the spread of this pandemic to begin with.
Certainly. Well, they need to be dealt with. Congressman, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you.